Good day to everyone. Welcome to the first episode of our course on sustainable agriculture. This is Nicanor Perlas, President of the Ecosystem for Stakeholders for Sustainable Agriculture, ESA, which is sponsoring this course. This course will be a year-long course. Our episodes will not be too long. It will be anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes so that you can produce the essence of the episode into a short period, and so that's easier to take in. Our venue is here at the Center for Bayanihan Economics here in Bulacan, which is the center of the Life Bank Foundation of the Philippines. So in here, we are going to learn various aspects of sustainable agriculture, the many dimensions of sustainable agriculture, and we would begin this course with a very brief introduction of a review of the course. Okay, so as you can see in the background, there is that shape, which is known as the Fibonacci number. The Fibonacci number, or the Fibonacci series, as it's also called in mathematics, is a symbol that if you want to do a kind of farming that's in partnership with nature, we have to understand the deep laws that underlie nature. Because we're not going to rely on chemicals and pesticides and other toxic compounds to do our farming. We're going to substitute this lack of knowledge with a very precise and deep knowledge of how nature functions, so that in the process we will gain an idea of how we can be in partnership with nature. So the Fibonacci number is very famous as a mathematical number that pervades the entire universe. Fibonacci was discovered by a mathematician several centuries ago in Italy, in Europe, where he found out that plants actually have a mathematical ratio in the way their leaves are arranged around the stem. And then he found out that these others can be translated to the golden mean, and that golden mean is also found in the shape of the DNA, in the shape of the human body, in the shape of the galaxy, and so on. It's a number that pervades the entire universe. So this is just a symbol. We may or may not go deeper into the topic, but just to tell you that this series in sustainable agriculture is going to be based on a very different understanding of science. It's scientific, but at the same time, it's a kind of science that is not so well understood by those who practice chemical farming, but is going to be deeply necessary to actually create a sustainable farm in the largest context possible. This first episode is an introductory episode. I'll give you an overview of the topics that we'll be covering here. For the next 52 weeks minimum, we will cover it whether it's rainy or sunny or windy or stormy, so that we will gain an idea of the real life of a farmer and what it takes to farm. We have to be resilient. I will give you an overview of the farm so you can get a sense of what we will be speaking about in the next 52 weeks. So now I'll slowly walk you through this farm. And then as I do that, we'll park at another place, stop at another place, and then I'll give you an overview of the topics. As I was mentioning earlier, I just walked up here, and this is the Center for Bayanihan Economics of Life Bank Foundation. It is the only certified learning center for Region 3 of the Department of Agriculture. It's certified organic. And this is the backdrop, and it's another angle here at the back of the Fibonacci. And as I said, this Fibonacci is very important for this farm and sustainable agriculture as a whole, because we will see it manifest from time to time when we start talking about sustainable agriculture. In the next few months, weeks, months, and year, we will see that there are 7 dimensions for sustainable agriculture. The first dimension is ecological, so that's why we get ecological farming, organic farming, and so on. The second dimension is economic. The third dimension is polity, or things to do with policy, environment, or sustainable agriculture. The economic part has to do with the market and all of the economic arrangements which will create a sustainable, economically viable farm. And then we have the fourth dimension, which is culture. The belief systems of for the farmer, the surrounding culture, that can actually be a hindrance or a support to sustainable agriculture. When you put all of these things in totality, we can have the societal dimensions, like poverty. Addressing poverty is a societal dimension. We have the economic aspects, political and cultural aspects of poverty. That's the fifth dimension. The sixth dimension is the development of full human potential. It's drawing out any actor or any individual involved in sustainable agriculture. It draws out the best possible potentials there to have a success, whether in farming or in marketing or whatever part. And then finally, there is the seventh dimension, the spiritual dimension of agriculture. No one, nobody in this planet, with all the artificial intelligence power that they have, the millions of scientists, no one can create life. I think we really have to understand this. I chose this backdrop of the Fibonacci because the numbers involved in nature are what are called irrational. They're not fixed because nature is evolving, it's dynamic, it's changing. It cannot be captured by artificial intelligence. And this is due to the fact that there are spiritual processes that pervade in nature, in the human being, that we will begin to understand. And these spiritual processes are very much permeating nature. That's why there's a spiritual dimension and also the human being. So those are the 7 dimensions, again, briefly: ecological, economic, political, cultural, societal, human, and spiritual. We will also speak about organic 1.0, organic 2.0, organic 3.0, organic 4.0, because organic farming has actually evolved through the decades into various forms of expression and manifestation in society and in the world. I will also touch on that because we need to understand sustainable agriculture is global. We have to understand the global context. And as part of the process, we will also be touching on some of the so-called pandemic aspects that is now engulfing the world and how that's deeply connected to sustainable agriculture. What is important now is to actually take a look at the real farming practice, which is mostly ecological. But we will gradually progress through the weeks to touch on all these topics. So now, I would just like for you to take a look with me into our venue, to familiarize yourself with the Center for Bayanihan Economics, which is also the headquarters of ESA, the Ecosystem of Stakeholders for Sustainable Agriculture. There are over 100 members of ESA and more counting. And take a look at the name, Ecosystem of Stakeholders for Sustainable Agriculture. Sustainable agriculture is not just about composting. It requires the involvement of many stakeholders to make the system work. So and in a sense, because many are consumers, you're part of the system, you need to actually demand organic food, not just chemical food, which suppresses your immune system, which destroys the environment. So the consumers are going to play a very large role. And the image of an ecosystem, you take it from a forest ecosystem. If you want water, want water to flow, this water should be coming out from a healthy ecosystem. Yeah, like the forest traps the water and releases it to the aquifers, into the streams and so on. It's the same thing with sustainable agriculture. There is an ecosystem of interrelationships from economics, ecology, politics, culture, society, and the humans involved. This is a web of interrelationship, and if it's done properly, you will have flowing into the world, into the farms, out of the farms, into the cities, throughout the country, a healthy, sustainable agriculture. This will be part of what we'll be looking at. Just a quick overview of the place where we will be actually speaking about this. We're now here on top of the Fibonacci structure in the second floor. I personally can feel the life energies of this structure, and behind me you can see one overview of the farm. Nature has awoken from its slumber during the summer for 2 to 3 months of no rain. Now, behind me you can see life flourishing when there is the proper condition. This will be the story of sustainable agriculture. Those dimensions that I mentioned earlier are the different dimensions that will make life prosper for all that are involved in the web, in the intricate web of farming. So please pay attention to the lush green vibrancy of life, because in the end, sustainable agriculture is all about life, the balance in life, in all those dimensions that we discussed, on all the 7 dimensions of sustainability. And that's why we're choosing this place as the proper setting for this course, because here we are surrounded with all kinds of life. You will notice that here you will see no farming yet. We will show you an overview picture later on, a drone picture of the farm. You can see the farm laid out. This is a 3.5 hectare farm, and you will begin to see that it has a very different design. The moment we discuss all aspects of the technological aspects that are involved here, we will begin to see the importance of trees, birds, different kinds of beneficial insects, and even, this kind of situation that surrounds this area. So just kindly stick around, because the next episode will go immediately into practical details, and then we're coming here from the expanse of nature, in the widest expanse, invoking the golden ratio, the Fibonacci number, which pervades the universe. We're going to come closer and closer here to this specific farm, and in this specific farm, what are the technological aspects that would create the ecological foundations of sustainable agriculture. So stick around for episode 2, where we'll begin to unravel sustainable agriculture technologies. But before that, we have to discuss why sustainable agriculture. So we will go through all those dimensions and why they're important, and then we'll create the context for the different aspects of sustainable agriculture, starting with the ecological. So see you next episode. This is the end of episode 1. If you have questions, just log into the website. This will be a dialogue with our viewers. If you have questions, I can also elaborate that in the next episode. I have a plan, I have a concept of how this will unfold, but that plan will also co-evolve with you, because after all, in the end, this course is for you. Thank you.